Oh look, it's your old pal, the brain again. Here we go. Look at the brain. Yeah, whatever. So here's the brain once more, and today we're gonna talk about the cranial nerves. You can only see a little bit here. So that's why we got this on the computer, because I'm cheap like that. Alright, so this is all pretty labeled. It's the inferior view, like this. And let's just go through all of them. So the first cranial nerve 1, is the olfactory. It's a sensory nerve for your sense of smell. And actually the what we call the topographical origin, the origin in the brain geographically, is the telencephalon. You know, one of the cephalons that we mentioned in one of the other videos. Well, the previous one is the only other video I've made so far. The second one is the optic nerve, which is for your sense of sight. So it's a sensory nerve, and it comes from the diencephalon. Now, cranial nerve 3, 4, and 6 are motor nerves for the eye. Cranial nerve 3 is the ocular motor one, and as you can tell, it's a motor nerve just by the name, and it's ocular, so it's for the eye. This is the one. This one comes from the mesencephalon, and it takes care of most of the movements in the eye, including pupillary constriction, and it comes out from the superior orbital fissure, which is up here. One of those. If you're looking at this, it should be from there. So, yeah, the fourth one is the trochlear. This one, this pink guy, that guy. It's a motor nerve as well. It's a motor nerve as well, and it comes from the mesencephalon, and it only innervates one muscle in the eye, the superior oblique muscle. So as you can see from this diagram, here's the trochlear nerve, this red line, and it innervates this one muscle, the superior oblique. And it's attached to the pons, if you remember what that is. That's this bad boy. And it goes around it as if it was like a pulley. Doesn't really function as a pulley because it's a nerve, but it kind of looks like that, if that helps. And then innervates that one spot. So that's the trochlear nerve. Now, after the trochlear nerve, which was cranial nerve 4, we like to shake things up and not focus on the eye just for a little bit, and instead we focus on the face with cranial nerve 5, the trigeminal nerve. And also this cranial nerve is a mixed nerve, so it's both sensory and motor. And it originates from the metencephalon. This nerve, it relays sensory information of the face to the brain, and it also focuses on motor actions as well, such as biting and chewing. And this nerve actually has 3 branches. So here are the 3 branches illustrated here with these 3 zones. We have the first branch of cranial nerve 5, which is the ophthalmic branch. We have the second branch, the maxillary branch, and the third branch, the mandibular branch. And that innervates the front part of your face, pretty much, the interior part of the face. So we have sensation, chewing, and biting. Now we go back to the eye with the 6th cranial nerve, the abducens, this purple boy. Yeah, that's right. The abducent nerve is a motor nerve, and it originates from the metencephalon, and it controls the lateral rectus, which is the muscle for outward gaze, for looking outwards to the side. All right. Now, cranial nerve 7 is the facial nerve, which is this green guy. And the facial nerve is another mixed nerve, and it's originated in the myelencephalon, which is where all the nerves from 7 to 12 originate. So just keep that in mind. From 7 onwards, myelencephalon, and from 1 to 6, well, you gotta learn those. So these muscles for the face are for muscle movement and expression, facial expression. And here's a picture. What a lovely little piece of meat we got there. So, yeah, there you go. Isn't that nice? So here we have the 5 different branches of cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve. We have here the temporal branch, which innervates the temporal part of your face. The zygomatic branch, which innervates this portion right here below your eye and, this portion anterior to your face. We have the buccal branch, which innervates your boca or your mouth region. We have the marginal mandibular branch, which innervates your mandible, and your cervical branch, which innervates your neck. Now, cranial nerve 8 is this guy right under the facial one, this pink guy, and it's the vestibular cochlear nerve. And this one is a sensory nerve, and it's also known as the auditory nerve. So you can kind of guess what kind of sensory information it relays, and it's auditory information, so the information you get from your ear. Now the 9th cranial nerve is the glossopharyngeal. This guy right here, under the pink one and above the orange one. And this guy is a mixed nerve, so it's sensory and motor, and it originates in the myelencephalon again. And it innervates the pharynx, the middle ear, and the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, and a few other places in the face. Next, we have the vagus, cranial nerve 10, which is also mixed, and it controls it has parasympathetic control of the heart, the lungs, and the digestive tract. Cranial nerve 11 is the accessory, this one right here, and it innervates pretty much the back muscles. It's a motor nerve, and it innervates the back muscles. An easy way to remember this, which I'm going to steal from a friend of mine, is that the accessory nerve innervates the place where you put your accessories, like your backpacks and stuff. I guess that helps, maybe. Cranial nerve 12 is the hypoglossal, and it's a motor nerve that innervates the tongue movement and tongue sensation. Well, no, that's actually motor, so not tongue sensation, just tongue movement. So that's it. Those are the 12 cranial nerves. And now let's see if we can identify them. So, cranial nerve 1, this one right here, that's the olfactory. Yeah. Cranial nerve 2, this one right here, that's the occipital. Oh yeah. Both of those are sensory. Sense of smell, sense of sight. And this one comes from the telencephalon, and this one from the diencephalon. Now, cranial nerve 3, this guy right here. Let me get this. This guy right here. That is the ocular motor. Comes from the mesencephalon, and it's a motor nerve for the eye. Cranial nerve 4, that guy right there, that's the trochlear, and it's also a motor, and it comes from the mesencephalon as well. Now cranial nerve 5, That's the trigeminal, and it's mixed, and it comes from the metencephalon. Cranial nerve 6, that is the abducens, and it's a motor nerve, and it comes from the metencephalon as well. Now cranial nerve 7, this one right here, that one is the facial, and it's mixed, and it comes from the myelencephalon. And 7 onwards is myelencephalon as well. Now cranial nerve 8, that one, this one right here, comes from it's the vestibular cochlear, and it's sensory. Cranial nerve 9, that's glossopharyngeal, and it's mixed, and it comes from the myelencephalon. Now the cranial nerve 10, that's the vagus, right here, and that one is mixed. And here we have cranial nerve 11, which is the accessory, and it's a motor nerve. And here we have cranial nerve 12, which is the hypoglossal, and it's motor as well. And now let's look at this poor boy's brain. Alright, so here we have the olfactory nerve, and here we should be able to see, but we don't see, the occipital. And so here, this this one right here, right above the pons, but not on the pons, that one right there, that one is cranial nerve 3, which is the ocular motor. And outside here we should see, but we don't see, cranial nerve 4, which is the trochlear. And cranial nerve 5 should be oh wait, is that it? I'm not sure if that's it or not. Yeah, that looks like it's cranial nerve 5, that's the trigeminal. And cranial nerve 6 is right here. This one right there. That's cranial nerve 6. Cranial nerve 7. It's one of these. They just put like 3 lines and think they could get away with it. But cranial nerve 7 onwards is around here. So cranial nerve 7 should be here. Cranial nerve 8 should be right next to it. Cranial nerve 9 should then be like around there. Cranial nerve 10 would then be over here. And then cranial nerve 11 would be on the side as well, but separately, like, because cranial nerve 7, 8 should be like here, and then cranial nerve 9 should be like around there, and then 10 is this one, and then 11 goes along this side, and then 12 goes along this part right here. As you can see from here, it's, the detail on this model isn't the finest, but it's good for what you get. So those are the cranial nerves and where they innervate and the cephalons from which they originate.